Electricity bills are rising faster than most people expected, and for many households, the increase feels almost impossible to explain. A few years ago, the average family could predict their monthly power costs. Today, opening the electricity bill often brings an unpleasant surprise. The amount is higher, sometimes significantly higher, even though nothing inside the house seems to have changed. So what's actually happening? Why are electricity bills getting so expensive in so many places at the same time? To understand this, we need to look at how electricity is produced, delivered, and priced. Because once you see the full picture, the rising costs start to make a lot more sense. First, there's the cost of energy production itself. Electricity doesn't appear out of nowhere. It has to be generated using energy sources like natural gas, coal, nuclear power, hydroelectric dams, wind turbines, or solar farms. When the price of these resources increases, electricity becomes more expensive to produce. Over the past few years, global energy markets have experienced major volatility. Fuel prices have risen, supply chains have been disrupted, and in many regions, older power plants are being retired while newer energy infrastructure is still being built. This transition period often leads to higher production costs, and when energy companies pay more to produce electricity, those costs are eventually passed on to consumers. But generation costs are only part of the story. The second major factor is infrastructure. Electricity has to travel from power plants to homes through a massive network of transmission lines, substations, transformers, and distribution systems. Much of this infrastructure was built decades ago and now requires upgrades or replacement. Modernizing electrical grids is extremely expensive. Utilities need billions of dollars to upgrade aging systems, integrate renewable energy, and improve reliability during extreme weather events. These investments are necessary, but they also increase the cost of operating the power grid. Once again, those costs tend to appear on customer bills. Another important factor is demand. Electricity consumption has been rising steadily for years. Homes today rely on more devices than ever before: computers, large televisions, smart appliances, air conditioning systems, electric vehicles, and dozens of smaller electronics that stay plugged in all day. At the same time, population growth and urban expansion mean more households are drawing power from the grid. Higher demand places additional pressure on the electrical system. Utilities must produce and distribute more energy, often during peak hours when electricity is the most expensive to generate. When demand spikes, prices tend to rise. Weather also plays a bigger role than many people realize. Heat waves, cold snaps, hurricanes, wildfires, and severe storms can damage infrastructure or force utilities to buy additional electricity from other regions. Extreme temperatures also cause people to use more heating and cooling, which drives demand even higher. In recent years, extreme weather events have become more frequent in many areas, creating additional stress on the energy grid. Then there are regulatory and policy changes. Governments around the world are pushing for cleaner energy sources and reduced carbon emissions. While renewable energy is an important long-term solution, transitioning away from fossil fuels requires enormous investment in new infrastructure, storage systems, and grid upgrades. These transitions don't happen overnight. During the shift toward cleaner energy systems, costs can temporarily rise as utilities build new facilities and retire older ones. Put all these factors together: fuel prices, infrastructure upgrades, rising demand, extreme weather, and energy transitions, and you start to see why electricity prices have been climbing. But there's another perspective that many people are beginning to consider: dependence. Most households rely entirely on one source of electricity, the local power grid. That means consumers have very little control over the price they pay each month. If rates increase, there isn't much they can do except try to use less electricity. This is why more people are starting to explore ways to reduce their dependence on traditional power sources. Some install solar panels, others invest in backup generators or battery systems, and some begin researching smaller, alternative power solutions that can supplement the electricity coming from the grid. The goal isn't always to replace the grid entirely. Often, it's simply to reduce the amount of electricity a household needs to purchase from utility companies. Even partial energy independence can lower monthly bills and provide extra security during outages. Understanding how electricity works and how it's generated opens the door to new possibilities. Instead of seeing energy as something that only large companies can produce, many people are learning about different systems and technologies that allow individuals to generate or manage their own power in creative ways. For some, this starts with small experiments, learning about energy efficiency, exploring alternative generators, Studying the principles behind electrical systems that can operate independently or alongside the grid, the key insight is simple. When you understand where electricity comes from and why it costs what it does, you're in a much better position to make smart decisions about how you use it, and in some cases, how you produce it. Electricity prices may continue to rise as energy systems evolve. But knowledge gives you options. It allows you to explore solutions that go beyond simply paying higher bills every year. If you found this explanation helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos about energy, technology, and practical ways people are learning to take more control over the power they use every day. And if you're curious about some of the alternative energy ideas we mentioned, especially smaller systems people are experimenting with, you can find a useful resource linked in the description. It breaks down how certain DIY energy setups work and why more homeowners are starting to study them. Take a look if you want to understand the concept in more detail and see what's actually possible when it comes to generating your own electricity.